When you buy a brand new PlayStation 5, Sony likely loses money. For the first few years of its life cycle, the complex hardware inside the machine costs more to manufacture, package, and ship than the price you pay at the store. Microsoft does the same with the Xbox. This isn't a mistake. It isn't a miscalculation. It is one of the most powerful and deceptive business strategies ever invented. A strategy that is quietly at work in your kitchen, your office, and your living room. Companies are willingly losing billions of dollars upfront. And the reason why will change the way you look at every product you buy. This strategy is called the razor and blade model. On the surface, it's simple. Sell a durable product at a steep discount, or even at a loss. Then, make your profit by selling disposable, high-margin refills that the customer must repeatedly buy. The initial product is the lock. The refill is the key. But this model is far more sophisticated than just cheap razors and expensive blades. It has been adapted and perfected for over a century, creating corporate empires in everything from video games to coffee to personal computing. So how can losing money on your flagship product be a pathway to immense wealth? How did this simple idea create a blueprint for locking customers into a system, making it almost impossible for them to leave? That's the question we're answering today. To understand the model, we have to go back to the beginning, the late 1800s. Before the turn of the 20th century, shaving was a chore. Most men visited a barber, who would use a straight razor. Owning a razor at home was a commitment. It was a single, thick piece of steel that required regular, skillful sharpening on a leather strop. It was difficult, and it was dangerous. King Camp Gillette, a traveling salesman, believed there had to be a better way. His great idea wasn't the razor itself, but the blade. He envisioned a blade so thin and cheap to produce from a stamped sheet of steel that it could be thrown away after it dulled. The problem was, his idea was a technical nightmare. For years, metallurgists told him it was impossible to create steel that was hard enough, thin enough, and cheap enough for a disposable blade. But Gillette's true innovation wasn't in metallurgy. It was in the business model he and his partners developed. They realized the money wasn't in the handle. The handle was just a delivery system. The real, recurring profit was in the disposable blades. So, they flipped the conventional logic of business on its head. Instead of selling a durable, expensive razor, they decided to practically give the razor away. In their most famous move, Gillette partnered with companies to have their razor handles included for free in packages of everything from coffee and tea to chewing gum. Millions of men suddenly had a Gillette razor handle. And what did every single one of them need to buy, over and over again? Gillette blades. The strategy was a staggering success. In 1903, their first year, Gillette sold just 51 razors and 168 blades. By 1904, after perfecting the model, those numbers jumped to over 90,000 razors and 123,000 blade packs. The company created a recurring revenue stream out of thin air. The razor was the bait. The blades were the annuity. Gillette had discovered the power of making the first purchase an entry point, not an end point. For decades, the razor and blade model remained largely associated with its namesake. But in the 1980s, with the rise of the personal computer, another industry saw an opportunity. Companies like Hewlett-Packard faced a challenge. How do you convince millions of households to buy a printer, a device that was once expensive office equipment? You use the Gillette playbook. HP and its competitors began selling inkjet printers for astonishingly low prices. You could walk into a store and buy a brand new, highly complex machine for under $100. Sometimes, for less than $50. They were so cheap, they became impulse buys. The printers were the new razors. And the new blades. Ink cartridges. The printer itself is sold at or near its manufacturing cost. The real profit is in the ink. That small plastic cartridge is a marvel of pricing strategy. The ink inside has been called one of the most expensive liquids on earth, costing more per gallon than vintage champagne. This profit is protected by making the system proprietary. An HP printer only accepts HP cartridges. A chip on the cartridge communicates with the printer, preventing the use of unauthorized, third-party refills. This is a crucial element of the model. You must control the supply of the blades. By selling the printer at a loss, HP secures a customer. And over the lifetime of that printer, the customer might spend hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars on high-margin ink. The initial loss on the hardware is an investment, paid back many times over through the guaranteed sale of consumables. The model's most powerful evolution came with the digital age. And its greatest champions are Sony and Microsoft. Developing a new video game console is one of the most expensive ventures in the tech world. It costs billions in research and development to create the custom processors, memory, and graphics chips. When the PlayStation 5 launched in 2020 for $499, industry analysts estimated its manufacturing cost was around $450. After factoring in shipping, marketing, and retail margins, Sony took a loss on every single unit sold for nearly a year. This sounds like a catastrophic business failure, but it's the heart of their strategy. The console is a digital razor. It is a specialized computer designed to do one thing: get you into their ecosystem. The real money, the digital blades, comes from three places. First, game sales. For every game sold on the PlayStation Store, Sony takes a 30% cut. Whether it's a $90 blockbuster or a $10 indie title, nearly a third of the money goes directly to them. Second, subscription services. PlayStation Plus and Xbox Game Pass are recurring revenue machines. Millions of players pay a monthly or annual fee for online play and access to a library of games. This provides a stable, predictable income stream that is completely detached from hardware sales. Third, in-game purchases. Every cosmetic item, every battle pass, every digital add-on purchased within a game also gives a 30% cut to the platform owner. By selling the console at a loss, Sony and Microsoft build a massive installed base of tens of millions of players. They aren't selling you a box, they are selling you a ticket to their walled garden, where they are the gatekeeper for all commerce. The lifetime value of a single console owner, through game sales and subscriptions, is vastly more than the initial loss on the hardware. And that brings us to the core insight. The secret that makes the razor and blade model so brilliant. The strategy isn't truly about selling one product cheap to sell another expensive. It's about fundamentally shifting the point of profit. A traditional business sells a product and makes a profit. The transaction is over. The razor and blade model redefines the product itself. The product is not the razor, the printer, or the console. The real product is the platform. The initial hardware sale isn't a sale at all. It's a customer acquisition cost. The company is paying, through a loss, to get you to adopt their proprietary system. Once you own the razor handle, you're a Gillette customer. Once you own the printer, you're an HP ink customer. Once you own the PlayStation, you are a member of the PlayStation ecosystem. This creates enormous switching costs. If you want to leave, you have to abandon your initial investment. Your library of games on PlayStation doesn't work on an Xbox. Your accumulated ink cartridges don't work in a new printer. This lock-in ensures a steady stream of future purchases. So, the aha moment is this: the razor and the blade are not two separate products. They are two parts of a single, long-term profit machine. The strategy transforms a simple, one-time purchase into a predictable, multi-year revenue relationship. That is the ultimate secret. Once you see this model, you see it everywhere. Keurig sold cheap coffee makers to create a massive, captive market for its expensive K-Cup coffee pods. Amazon sells its Kindle e-readers at razor-thin margins because it knows a Kindle owner will buy their e-books exclusively from the Kindle store. Even your electric toothbrush company makes its real money on the proprietary replacement heads you have to buy every 3 months. The most advanced version is Apple's ecosystem. The iPhone isn't sold at a loss, but it acts as the ultimate razor, locking you into a world of high-margin blades. AirPods, the App Store, iCloud subscriptions, and Apple Music. The seamless integration makes leaving the ecosystem incredibly inconvenient and expensive. The razor and blade model teaches a profound business lesson. Stop thinking about the profit of a single transaction. Instead, calculate the lifetime value of a customer. By being willing to lose money on the first interaction, you can build a fortress around your business, creating a loyal customer base and a predictable stream of income for years to come. It's a strategy built not on selling a product, but on owning a relationship. If you learned something new, hit the like button and subscribe for more strategy breakdowns. And let us know in the comments, what company's strategy should we unlock next?